What's up guys? In this video, I want to show you how to make a DIY pull-up bar that I installed in my garage gym. If you want to check out our garage gym, I'll leave a link down below. I've been wanting to get a pull-up bar for over 2 years now, but I refuse to get one where you hang on the door frame. I've had them in the past and I never really liked it. They destroy your molding around the door. They're also not the most stable and it's so low where my legs are always dragging on the floor. I decided to just make my own, install it, and it's been great so far. So let me show you how I did it. We installed this DIY pull-up bar in one evening and it cost me less than $70. After over a week of use, there's no signs of it bending or loosening. Angie was even skeptical if it would even hold my heavy ass. I'm over 200 pounds and so far no issues, so I'm more than happy with how this DIY pull-up bar turned out. For this pull-up bar, we'll be mounting a 2x4 stud into the ceiling joist, and then we'll attach our pull-up bar onto the stud. I used a miter saw to cut the 2x4 to 68 inches with a 45-degree cut at each end. I wanted the 2x4 to be a minimum of 64 inches so that I could mount the 2x4 to a minimum of 4 ceiling joists for more security. Next, I gave the 2x4 a light sanding because I'm going to paint it so that it blends into the ceiling. To assemble our pull-up bar, I used one 3/4 inch thick black steel pipe, 48 inches in length, two 3/4 inch thick black steel pipes that are 12 inches in length, two 90-degree elbows, two floor flanges, 8 1/4 inch by 2 inch flat head screws, and 8 3/8 inch by 5.5 inch lag screws. I bought all these materials from Home Depot and I'll list them in the description below. To mount the 2x4, I first marked every 16 inches to give me an idea of where the ceiling joist would be. Ceiling joists are normally placed every 16 inches. This isn't necessary if you have exposed ceiling joists or a stud finder. Next, I drilled in a few pilot holes, then I drilled in some general purpose screws. These screws will only be used to hold up the 2x4 while I drill in the lag screws. Once I drilled in all the screws and mounted the 2x4, the 2 screws in the middle actually didn't hit a stud. Our house was renovated 2 years ago and some of the joists were moved when we moved the garage walls. The joists were only about 2 inches over, but it is really important that all the lag screws are screwed into the joists. If you have a stud finder, it'd be good to check this. Next, I used a 3/8 inch drill bit to pre-drill holes, then we screwed in the 5.5 inch lag screws. After a few lag screws were in, I removed the general purpose screws and put in the rest of the lag screws. We lined the ceiling with some blue painter's tape and painted the stud white. We also decided to paint the pipes on the side of the pull-up bar white as well so that it would blend in. So we screwed in the 12-inch pipes into the 9-degree elbows and the flanges and then painted it with the same paint. I'd recommend using spray paint instead for a more even coat and faster drying time. For the 48-inch piece of black steel, we decided to keep it unpainted to avoid any paint chipping off over time with use. However, I did use a sanding pad to remove all the white lettering and give the pipe a smoother matte finish. I screwed together all the pieces and now we're ready to mount the pull-up bar to the 2x4. Simply place it where you want the pull-up bar, mark all the holes, drill pilot holes to avoid splitting, screw in the 2-inch screws, and we are done. All that's left to do is pull-ups. I can do wide grip, normal grip, close grip. I can get fancy and do both. Towel pull-ups. And even though Angie is pregnant, she uses this pull-up bar also. If you're gonna make this DIY pull-up bar, here are some things to consider. Depending on the height of your ceiling, you may wanna use different length pipes on the sides to adjust for the height. I use 3/4 inch pipe because that's the closest diameter to a barbell, which is what I wanted. But if you want a thicker pipe, a thicker grip, you can always opt for a 1-inch pipe. I mounted my 2x4 across 4 different ceiling joists because I wanted my pull-up bar perpendicular to the ceiling joist. If you want your pull-up bar parallel to the ceiling joist, what I recommend is cutting 2 shorter pieces of 2x4, mounting that perpendicular to the ceiling joist, and then putting the pull-up bar onto that. That way the 2x4s will still be on more than one ceiling joist at a time for more stability. Lastly, one thing to note about this pull-up bar is that there is some movement back and forth when I do pull-ups. This hasn't caused any issues and the pull-up bar is very sturdy. However, However, if I were to make some improvements, one thing I could do is I could mount another pull-up bar parallel to this pull-up bar and then connect them together with three-way elbows, kind of forming like a box. It'll be more rigid and more stable. I could do this anytime in the future, so I'm not worried. The only thing is it'll probably cost me double what I originally spent. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, of course, tap the like button down below. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We'll see you in the next video. Two floor flanges, and 8 3/8 and 8. I can't talk.